All right, guys. Here's a short explanation of why you shouldn't be watching your immersion content in English subs. If you want to accelerate your language learning progress, you're gonna have to turn off those English subs, right? And people try to make like the argument that maybe English subs will help me understand a little bit more, add more context, and thereby I'll be able to acquire more of the language. It's like no, it's like I know it sounds good to be like that, but the problem is you need to have there needs to be a lot of sentences that pass by where you understand nothing. Because here's the problem. Yes, maybe if there's like one or two sentences where like let's say you understood 90% of the sentence and there's a 10% of sentence that you didn't understand, right? And then the English subtitles helped you understand the extra 10% and therefore you acquired it. Even if that was hypothetically speaking, you still need to go through a lot of sentences when you watch your content where you understand nothing. Because when you're literally sitting there watching something and you don't understand anything, right? Or at least there's a lot of sentences that you don't understand, and you're just sitting out and trying to understand, but you don't understand it, that's telling your brain that it needs to figure this shit out. Because the problem is if you turn on the English subs, then the sentences that are like super hard and out of your league, you're gonna be able to just like understand it. And now you're not telling your brain, you're not giving your brain a reason to actually acquire the language. Because you're just reading off the English subs now. Like anytime there's a sentence you don't understand, you just read the English sub. So now your brain doesn't see a reason to acquire the language. This is why it's so important to tolerate ambiguity. You need to have periods of your immersion where everything's ambiguous, where everything is you don't understand anything. Okay, you need to have periods of that in your immersion when you're learning a language, for your brain to kickstart the process of language acquisition. That's how it starts, guys. Okay, you're going to really need to sit and tolerate ambiguity. And it might seem like adding in the subs will help you understand it, because it's like, what's the difference between like looking up a word in a bilingual dictionary versus looking at English sub? Maybe it's not that too much difference, but you need to understand the English. You need to understand the Japanese sentence in Japanese, not in English. Remember, the English subtitles are not like, they don't provide the exact, precise translation, because English will phrase it differently than Japanese. That's why, like, if you want to understand a Japanese sentence, you're going to have to understand the sentence in the way it expresses it in Japanese, right? And that's why you shouldn't be using these English subs or any other language. Like if you're learning a new language, that's why you shouldn't be using it on that. Okay, so that's the thing, guys. Really make sure that you're turning those things off, and you're going to have to face it. It's a little like people say like it's uncomfortable. Like I didn't give a crap. Like for me, bro, like I wanted to learn this language so bad. Like especially French and Japanese. Like I wanted to learn these languages so bad. I did not even care if I didn't understand anything. In fact, I was actually having fun. Like I was watching One Piece. Like One Piece was one of the first shows that I watched in the very beginning. Like Black Clover and One Piece. And these shows were like very easy to understand. Even though I understood the plot already because I was like already watched the anime. But still like, I was like in East Blue, Alabasta, Skypiea, and I didn't understand anything else going on. I was like, okay, well, it's like, I mean, I understood what's going on, but it's like, there's a lot of words that I didn't understand, that they were saying, but I didn't care. I was having fun. I was engaging with the show, bro. I was having fun, and you're gonna have to like go through this, you're gonna have to go through a period where you're not understanding anything, and you're gonna have to accept and be content with the fact that you're not understanding it. Okay, you're going to have to be content with that, because you're going to have to go through this process, bro. Okay, you're going to have to go through this process of you're not understanding, you're not going to get everything. Okay, because once you can accept that, then your language learning is going to be like crazy. Okay, but you got to turn off the subtitles, because you don't want the subtitles to help. All right, it's going to take away from the immersion. So that's why I recommend you turn them off, because you're not actually going to acquire like I guarantee you spend another 2 years watching anime with subtitles, you're not going to acquire that much Japanese anyway, right? But if you spend those 2 years without subtitles, and you actually try to like understand the language, you rewatch Bleach in One Piece without subtitles, yeah, your brain will figure it out, bro. Like trust me, your brain will actually figure it out. I know it's hard. It's like a little bit of faith. Like even for me, like there are moments like in the beginning of Japanese where like, and I was like kind of doubting, and I was like, am I really gonna like acquire this language? Like, especially with French, because French was the first language I ever learned, right? So when I was learning French, I was like doubting it a little bit. I was like, is this really working? Like, like, am I really gonna acquire this, right? Now with French, the progress happens faster since it's a European language, so I was able to acquire it faster. So like, I can't even imagine you guys trying to learn Japanese, right? And you guys don't see any progress for like, maybe like 3 months or like even 6 months, because it's like maybe you know basic words, but it's like maybe there's a still large majority of the immersion you don't understand, and that might be a little bit discouraging sometimes. So I understand a little bit, but you're going to have to continue and trust the process. You have to trust the process that this is going to work, because I guarantee you, if you're paying attention, your brain will figure it out. It's magical. That because our brains are wired for this. Our brains are wired to acquire languages. So you got this. You just gotta feed it the right information. You gotta feed it consistent immersion.